Snow fell in soft flakes that morning, gentle, harmless, almost beautiful. But the moment the tiny girl tugged on the CO's sleeve with trembling fingers and whispered, "Sir, my mom didn't come home last night," the world stopped being beautiful. And he knew, without understanding why, that if he walked away, something terrible would happen. The city was still waking up, lights flicking on inside tall buildings as workers hurried to the cold morning air. Adrian Hale, the notoriously cold and intimidating CEO of one of the largest corporations in the country, stepped out of his sleek black car with his usual rigid posture. Today was supposed to be a day of negotiations, meetings, and another round of people trying to impress him. His schedule didn't allow interruptions, not even small ones. But fate rarely asked for permission. As he approached the revolving doors of his company headquarters, he felt a gentle tug on the hem of his coat. He turned, ready to reprimand whoever dared touch him, only to find a tiny little girl standing there, no older than 7 or 8. Her hair was tangled, her cheeks were flushed pink from the cold, and her gloves were mismatched as if thrown on in a hurry. But what struck him most were her eyes, wide, glassy, and desperate. "Sir," she whispered, her voice cracking, "my mom didn't come home last night." It was such a fragile sentence, so small he almost missed it, but the fear behind it hit him like a blow. He frowned. "Where's your guardian? Does someone know you're here?" "No," she said, shaking her head. "I waited and waited, but Mom never came back. She always comes home before dark. Always. Always." Such a simple word. Such a heavy one in the mouth of a child. Adrian should have walked away. He should have called security or the police or someone else qualified to fix this. He was not the kind of man who offered help. He hardly remembered how. Yet when the girl sniffled and wiped her nose with the back of her hand, shivering violently, he heard a voice from a part of himself he thought long frozen. "Where do you live?" Her eyes lit with a spark of hope. "You'll help me?" "I didn't say that," he muttered, but the damage was done. Her tiny cold fingers slipped into his gloved hand, holding on as if he were her last lifeline. And without another word, she led him away from his towering building, its polished glass windows reflecting their mismatched silhouettes, an icy CEO and a trembling little girl disappearing into the falling snow. She lived in a small, worn-down apartment 2 blocks away. The inside was cold, the air heavy with the scent of home that hadn't been lived in for hours too long. One cup on the table, one chair pushed back, a coat missing from the hook. The girl, Lily, pointed to the door. She didn't take her scarf. She always takes her scarf. Adrian felt a knot twist in his stomach. 100 possibilities raced through his mind, none of them good. Did she say anything last night? Did she leave upset? Lily nodded slowly. "She got a call. She looked scared. She told me to lock the door and go to sleep if she wasn't back yet." The girl swallowed hard, but she promised she would come back. Broken promises. He knew that feeling too well. Adrian's jaw clenched. For reasons he could not explain, he felt responsible, not for the disappearance, but for the child shaking in front of him. Maybe it was the cold. Maybe it was her eyes. Or maybe it was a faint memory of being abandoned himself years ago, before he built his world of steel and indifference. "Lily," he said gently, surprising even himself, "we're going to find your mother. I promise." Her small fingers tightened around his coat sleeve again, and for the first time in years, he let someone hold on to him. And that was how it began. Adrian Hale, a man known for his unbreakable control, walking back out into the snow with a little girl, depending entirely on him. The police were overstretched by a storm-related accident, and the missing persons report would take hours. Hours Lily didn't have. So Adrian did something wildly out of character. He started searching on his own. He retraced the mother's last steps, guided by Lily's memory. A convenience store where the cashier remembered seeing her, nervous, glancing outside every few seconds. A bus stop where someone claimed she'd been talking on the phone, her voice tense. And finally, a narrow alleyway behind a bakery where her footprints disappeared into the fresh snow. "Why would she walk here?" Lily whispered, holding his hand so tightly her knuckles turned white. "She might have been running from someone," Adrian said, though he tried to keep his voice steady. Lily trembled. Mom said someone was after her before. He froze. What you mean? Lily pushed her mittened hands into her pockets nervously. She said she used to work for bad people, but she left. She promised we'd be safe now. Adrian's heartbeat quickened. Bad people. People who didn't like when someone left. Pieces clicked together. Too easily. Too dangerously. Before he could ask more, a crash echoed from deeper inside the alley. Lily gasped, and Adrian stepped forward instinctively, shielding her behind him. They moved toward the sound, each step crunching in the silence of the snow. To their relief, mixed with shock, they found a mother's scarf caught on a wire fence. And beneath it, half buried in snow, was her phone, screen cracked but still vibrating with a new message. Lily dropped to her knees. Mom's phone. Adrian picked it up. A single message glowed. If you want her back, come alone. He inhaled sharply. Someone had taken her, and now he was involved. But he didn't back down. Not when Lily's eyes had filled with tears. Not when she grabbed the scarf and held it to her chest like a life raft. Mister, Hale, is my mom going to die? He knelt before her, the snow settling on his shoulders, his breath fogging the cold air. No, he said firmly, not while I'm here. But you don't even know her. Why are you helping us? He hesitated, caught off guard by a truth he rarely touched. Because once, he said softly, I was a child waiting for someone who never came back. Lily blinked, and her tears fell silently. They traced the unknown caller to an abandoned warehouse near the docks, far from the polished world Adrian lived in, but hauntingly familiar from the shadows of his past. He had grown up around people like this. He knew how they moved, how they thought. Inside the warehouse, after navigating broken crates and echoing corridors, they found her, Lily's mother, weak, bruised, tied to a pillar but very much alive. Mom! Lily ran to her, sobs bursting from her chest. But before Adrian could join them, a voice echoed from the shadows. Well, Adrian Hale. Didn't expect you to play the hero. He stiffened. He knew that voice. A ghost from the darker corners of his past. A man he once escaped at great cost. The kidnapper smirked. She stole from me, ran off, thought she could hide. But this is a lovely surprise. Adrian stepped forward, slowly, deliberately, like a man who had already chosen his side. Consequences be damned. You're letting them go, he said. All of them. The man laughed, but it wasn't long before he realized Adrian wasn't negotiating. He was warning. When the confrontation erupted, sharp, loud, dangerous, it ended with the police finally arriving, alerted by Adrian's driver. The kidnapper was taken away, shouting threats that dissolved into the storm. Lily clung to him afterward, her tiny hand wrapped around his. You saved us, she whispered. No, he corrected softly. You saved me. The hospital room was warmer than the winter morning outside. Lily's mother lay in bed recovering, exhaustion etched into her pale features. Lily curled beside her, refusing to let go. Adrian stood by the door, unsure if he should stay. This wasn't his world. He didn't belong in warm hospital rooms or beside reunited families. He belonged in his glass tower, where emotions were liabilities. But when Lily lifted her head and whispered, Mister, Hale, don't go, something inside him cracked open. Her mother looked toward him with grateful eyes. Thank you, she said, her voice rough. I didn't expect anyone to help. Not with my past. You were protecting your daughter, Adrian replied softly. That's not a crime. The mother looked at him for a long moment, then smiled weakly. You remind me of someone who lost a lot too soon. He inhaled quietly. She didn't know how right she was. The police cleared her of charges. She hadn't stolen money. She'd taken evidence, trying to expose the group she escaped from. She was brave, not guilty. And because of that bravery, she had enemies. Enemies Adrian intended to make disappear. In the weeks that followed, he arranged protection for Lily and her mother, set up a safe place for them to live, and ensured the criminals were brought to justice. But he made one final mistake, one he hadn't expected. He let himself care. He found himself visiting them, helping Lily with homework, fixing things around their tiny new apartment. And each time he left, her small voice echoed after him. "Come back soon, mister. Hail." One snowy evening, as he prepared to leave after dinner, Lily hugged him tightly. "You know," she murmured into his coat, "Mom says you saved us. But I think you needed saving too." He froze. Lily stepped back and smiled, a small, hopeful smile that carried a warmth he thought he'd never feel again. "Everyone needs someone," she said simply. "Maybe we can be your someone." For the first time in years, Adrian felt something melt inside him, the ice that had protected him for so long, dissolving under the weight of a child's simple truth. He knelt and brushed a tear from her cheek. "Lily," he said softly, "you already are..." And so the story that began with snow, fear, and an abandoned girl ended with something far rarer. A man rediscovering the warmth he had long forgotten, and a little family finding safety, hope, and a future stronger than the storm that once threatened to break them. And so, in a world where cold sidewalks and falling snow often hide people's pain, a single small voice, "Sir, my mom didn't come home," was enough to change the course of a man's life. Adrian Hale never expected to find a family in the places he feared the most, nor did he expect that the fragile hand of a child could pull him out of the darkness he thought he was destined to stay in forever. Sometimes the people we save become the very people who save us. And in that gentle, snow-covered corner of the city, a broken family healed, and a broken man learned how to be whole again. Never underestimate the power of kindness. One moment of compassion, even from a stranger, can rewrite someone's entire story. We all carry battles no one sees, but when we choose to care, to listen, to reach out, we become the light someone has been waiting for.